Speaker Taiwan. This is a question about Taiwan. The health and safety of Canadians depends on an effective, internationally coordinated response to coronavirus. Does the government support the inclusion of Taiwan in international discussions about the virus? Again, Taiwan, yes or no? The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
So you just heard an impassioned speech from a conservative politician of Canada. He's from Edmonton, Alberta, and he stood up in front of the House of Commons, which is basically Canada's government legislative body, and he said, look how well Taiwan has been doing during the pandemic. This was recorded, I think, in March 2020, 15 months ago, and he asked a direct question to our Prime Minister, the leader of Canada, whether he supports Taiwan's inclusion into the International World Health Assembly, basically the WHO. So let's hear what our Prime Minister Justin Trudeau had to say to this yes or no question.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. As we did during the time of the SARS virus, we support Taiwan's meaningful participation in international multilateral fora, especially when its presence provides important contributions to the global public good.
So there you have it. 15 months ago, Justin Trudeau said yes, of course, he supports Taiwan's inclusion into the International Health Forum. And of course, we all believe that that was the right thing to say, the right thing to do. But after that, nothing really happened, as far as I can tell. Of course, this video made waves in Taiwan. It made some headlines around here. It said, look, Canada does support Taiwan. Isn't that great? But it's been 15 months now, and nothing has really happened until very, very recently. Let's take a look at what Mr. Michael Cooper is saying these days.
For leave to introduce a bill entitled An Act Respecting a Framework to Strengthen Canada-Taiwan Relations. The motion is deemed adopted. The Honourable Member for St. Albert, Edmonton.
Mr. Speaker, it is an honour to rise to introduce the Canada-Taiwan Relations Framework Act. Canada does not have a formal relationship with Taiwan, and that complicates our interactions. As such, this legislation seeks to establish an orderly mechanism by which to conduct relations by establishing a framework for strengthening Canada-Taiwan relations, including in respect of economic, cultural, and legal affairs.
So here we have it, almost 15 months later, and Michael Cooper has stood up once again in front of Canada's House of Representatives, and he is proposing a brand new bill, which would actually take Canada and Taiwan's relationship and make that legal and officially part of Canada's international agenda.
Taiwan is one of Canada's largest trading partners. We have strong people-to-people links and share common values. It is a vibrant democracy and one of the world's top 20 economies. It is time that Canada's relations with Taiwan reflect the reality that Taiwan is today. This legislation is an important step towards that.
So this bill is officially called Bill C-315, and it will be called Canada-Taiwan Relations Framework Act. So as a Canadian living in Taiwan, I'm really excited about this. I think it could have huge implications for Taiwanese living in Canada and also Canadians living in Taiwan. And it will also be kind of a big deal in terms of Taiwan's relationship to the rest of the international community. So let's see what else Michael Cooper has to say on this subject and on this very exciting new bill that he wants to pass.
This morning, I had the honor of introducing in the House of Commons legislation to strengthen Canada's relationship with Taiwan, the Canada-Taiwan Relations Framework Act. This is timely, much needed, and frankly, long overdue.
So I really admire the fact that he's standing up in front of the entire Canadian government and basically singing the praises of Taiwan. He's laying out how important the relationship between Canada and Taiwan is, and he's about to go on to kind of demonstrate why we actually need a legal framework such as this, not just an informal political relation, but actually something that is passed down into Canadian law.
We share strong people-to-people links with nearly 200,000 Taiwanese in Canada and some 60,000 Canadians in Taiwan. Indeed, Taiwan is home to the fourth largest number of Canadians in the world.
When I first heard these numbers, that really shocked me. I can believe that 200,000 Taiwanese live in Canada. In fact, I think a lot of my viewers are actually Taiwanese living overseas, and maybe you watch my videos to kind of get a little taste of home. But I really had no idea that there were 60,000 Canadians living in Taiwan. I mean, I know there's me, there's Prazi, there's Cole Fogel, there's Kelsey, and I do know that whenever I go out to the bar, many of the people that I regularly meet are from Canada, but I had no idea it was that many people. So, you know, if this bill does get passed, I think that's going to be huge for both Taiwanese living abroad and Canadians living here in Taiwan. Let's see what else Michael has to say.
For the last 51 years, Canada has had no formal relationship with Taiwan. There is a real void that exists.
So I think the date that he's referring to there is 1971, more than 50 years ago, when the ROC, Taiwan, officially no longer represented China in the UN. So the UN actually voted to only recognize the People's Republic of China as the official seat of the Chinese government. And it's stayed like that ever since. So obviously 50 years ago, I think it is high time that the Canadian government really started to establish formal diplomatic relations with Taiwan.
Additionally, this legislation recognizes the important and positive role that Taiwan has played on the world stage. Indeed, Taiwan is a model for the world. We have seen that over the last 15 months with respect to public health, where Taiwan has battled COVID just about better than any jurisdiction in the world, with very few cases, very few hospitalizations, and very few deaths, all the while remaining open.
So of course, Taiwan's response to the COVID-19 crisis has been well documented. I myself have made 3 or 4 videos about the subject. I'm sure you guys are all really proud of what Taiwan has done in the face of this global pandemic. Even recently, even if you take the last 6 weeks into account, when we have had lockdowns and the schools have been closed and you can't eat in restaurants, still, I mean, in a way you can think about those things as positive steps that the government has taken to control the recent outbreak in Taiwan. And from all accounts, from the numbers that we're seeing lately, these steps have really been working. So I think what Michael here is saying is that the world does indeed have so much to learn about Taiwan's response to the coronavirus.
And with respect to the WHO, let me just say that at a time when we are in the middle of a pandemic, it is absurd that Taiwan would be excluded, having regard for the significant expertise that it brings to the table, and more broadly from the standpoint of global public health.
So I will link one of the videos that I made about this subject in particular at the end of this video, where it's very clear the success that Taiwan has had in the case of COVID-19. And it's really nice to see Michael Cooper and other politicians and leaders around the world really recognizing Taiwan's contributions to this matter.
Let me just say that Taiwan is an island of 23.5 million people. It is a thriving democracy. It is a leader in innovation and technology. And it is one of the top 20 economies in the world. It is time for Canada's relations and Canada's policy towards Taiwan to reflect the reality that Taiwan is today.
Okay, and just the last part of this video here, I wanted to show you one of the questions that was asked of Michael Cooper. A lady phoned in. She was from an Asian radio station in Canada, and she had a very interesting question for Mr. Michael Cooper.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Cooper. Thank you for having a strong voice for Taiwan. I'm just wondering, do you get any pushback or any response from China?
No, I have not. And, quite frankly, I don't believe that Canada should govern its relationship with Taiwan based upon the position of the Chinese Communist regime. Taiwan is simply too important. It's time that we move forward to engage with Taiwan and enhance relations with Taiwan.
Thank you.
Wow, go Mike. I think his stance on Taiwan is very, very clear, and obviously his stance on the, what did he call it, the communist regime of China is also quite clear. So I think this is a very, very positive political step for Canada to make, especially for this particular politician, Michael Cooper, to make. I do have to point out that this is a proposal. It is a proposal of a bill, so it has not been passed yet, but it has been entered into the House of Commons, the House of Representatives in Canada, for consideration. So let's just wish them luck and maybe find this guy on Twitter. Here he is with the Taiwan representative. Go check him out. I think we're gonna see a lot more on this story moving forward. So thank you guys for watching. Please let me know down in the comments what your thoughts on the matter are. Whether you're a Taiwanese living here in Taiwan, or a Taiwanese living in Canada, or a Canadian living here in Taiwan, I would just love to hear your opinion on this matter. Please keep it civil in the comments. This is just supposed to be kind of an informative, maybe even a little bit of a fun video, just to show you that, Canada and Taiwan, we have a very strong relationship already, and I just hope that it can become even stronger. My name is Wes Davies. If you like this video, please press that like button, consider subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.